Diabetes lies we still believe. Debunking 10 myths with new studies. Most people think diabetes is simple. High sugar, too many sweets, take medication, problem solved. But that picture is dangerously incomplete, because diabetes may be one of the most misunderstood diseases in the world. The scary part is not that people know nothing about diabetes. The scary part is that millions of people think they already understand it. They say things like, "I don't eat sugar, so I can't get diabetes. If I had high blood sugar, I would feel it. Insulin means your body has completely failed." But modern research and medical sources continue to show something troubling. Many of these beliefs are simply not true. And those myths can delay diagnosis, cause people to ignore warning signs, and sometimes allow damage to happen quietly for years. So today, we're going to uncover 10 diabetes myths that millions of people still believe. And some of them might be far closer to your own life than you expect. Why this matters. Diabetes is not just a number on a blood test. It is a long metabolic process. For many people, the body starts sending signals years before diagnosis. Constant fatigue, increased thirst, frequent urination, blurred vision, strange hunger, slow healing wounds. But here's the problem. Many people ignore these signals because they believe the wrong things about diabetes. They assume they are safe. And that false sense of security is often where the real danger begins. The science behind the confusion. Type 2 diabetes is not caused by just one factor. Modern research shows it is the result of a complex interaction between genetics, insulin resistance, body fat distribution, lifestyle habits, sleep quality, physical activity, diet patterns, aging, and metabolic changes. Health organizations like the CDC and medical education sources continue to emphasize this. Diabetes is multifactorial. Yet, despite decades of research, myths about diabetes remain surprisingly common. So let's go through the biggest ones. Myth 1. Eating sugar causes diabetes. This may be the most common belief of all, and it's also one of the most misunderstood. Medical education sources explain something very clearly. Eating sugar alone does not directly cause diabetes, but that statement often gets misinterpreted. Because while sugar itself is not the sole cause, diets high in added sugars, especially sugary drinks, can contribute to weight gain, metabolic stress, insulin resistance, and those factors increase the risk of type 2 diabetes. So the reality is more nuanced. Sugar is not a magical switch that instantly creates diabetes, but long-term dietary patterns can push the body toward metabolic dysfunction. The real problem is not a single dessert. The problem is years of metabolic pressure on the body. Myth 2. If you're thin, you can't get diabetes. Many people assume diabetes only affects people with obesity, but this belief is misleading. Yes, excess body weight, especially abdominal fat, increases the risk, but thin people are not immune. Some people develop insulin resistance despite having a normal body weight. Others may carry higher levels of visceral fat, which is fat stored around internal organs. Genetics also plays a role, which means someone can appear healthy on the outside while metabolic problems develop silently inside. This phenomenon is sometimes called metabolically unhealthy normal weight. The body does not always reveal its risks through appearance. Myth 3. Diabetes is purely genetic. Family history does increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, but genetics are only part of the story. If diabetes were purely genetic, lifestyle changes would not make a difference. But research consistently shows that changes in diet, physical activity, sleep, and body weight can significantly reduce the risk. This means genes may load the gun, but lifestyle often pulls the trigger. Some people with strong family histories never develop diabetes, and some people with no family history still do, which is why relying solely on genetics can be misleading.
Myth 4. You would feel it if your blood sugar was high. This myth is extremely dangerous because it creates a false sense of safety. Many people believe their body will warn them immediately if blood sugar rises. But in reality, high blood sugar can remain silent for years. Prediabetes and early type 2 diabetes often produce few obvious symptoms. Damage may already be developing in blood vessels, nerves, eyes, kidneys, before someone even realizes something is wrong. That's why routine blood tests are so important. Your body does not always announce metabolic problems loudly. Sometimes the warning signs are quiet.
Myth 5. Starting insulin means you failed. This myth causes enormous psychological stress for many patients. Some people see insulin as a last resort or a sign that they did something wrong. But insulin is simply a medical treatment. For some people, it becomes necessary because the pancreas no longer produces enough insulin, or the body cannot use it effectively. Using insulin does not mean failure. In many cases, it helps prevent serious complications by bringing blood sugar under control. Insulin is a tool, and like any tool in medicine, it exists to protect health.
Myth 6. Diabetes only happens to older people. Decades ago, type 2 diabetes was mostly diagnosed in older adults, but the situation has changed dramatically. Today, younger adults and even teenagers are being diagnosed more often. Modern lifestyles involving low physical activity, highly processed foods, sugary beverages, chronic stress, poor sleep have shifted the age of metabolic disease, which means diabetes is no longer just a condition of aging. It is increasingly becoming a disease of modern lifestyle.
Myth 7. Prediabetes isn't a big deal. Many people hear the word prediabetes and assume it means nothing serious yet. But prediabetes is actually a critical warning stage. Blood sugar levels are already higher than normal. Insulin resistance is often developing. And without intervention, many people will eventually progress to type 2 diabetes. The important thing is that prediabetes is also a window of opportunity. Lifestyle changes during this stage can sometimes delay or prevent the progression. Ignoring it, however, allows the metabolic damage to continue quietly. Myth 8. People with diabetes shouldn't exercise. This myth is completely backwards. For many individuals with diabetes or prediabetes, physical activity is one of the most powerful tools available. Exercise can improve insulin sensitivity, lower blood glucose levels, support healthy body weight, improve cardiovascular health. Of course, exercise plans should be appropriate for the individual and guided by medical advice. But avoiding activity out of fear is rarely the right solution. In many cases, movement is part of the treatment.
Myth 9. If you're overweight, you automatically have diabetes. While obesity increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, it does not guarantee it. Some individuals with excess weight still maintain normal glucose metabolism. Others with normal weight may develop metabolic dysfunction. Health is not determined by body weight alone. Body composition, genetics, lifestyle, and metabolic health all play roles. Weight can be a risk factor, but it is not a diagnosis. Myth 10. Diabetes is just about blood sugar. Perhaps the most misleading myth of all is the idea that diabetes is simply a sugar problem. In reality, diabetes is a systemic metabolic disease. When poorly controlled, it can affect multiple organs: the heart, kidneys, eyes,
nerves, blood vessels. This is why long-term management focuses on more than just glucose numbers. Doctors also monitor blood pressure, cholesterol, kidney function, eye health, nerve health, because diabetes affects the entire metabolic system.
When you look at these 10 myths together, a clear pattern appears. The biggest danger isn't just diabetes itself. The biggest danger is the misunderstanding of diabetes. Many people avoid testing because they believe they would feel it if their blood sugar were high. Some ignore the risk because they think they're too young. Others blame sugar alone and completely miss the bigger picture of metabolic health. And some people are even afraid of treatments that could actually protect them. But here's the truth. Diabetes rarely happens overnight. In most cases, it develops slowly, quietly, silently, over years. That's why the most powerful thing you can do is not panic. The most powerful thing you can do is be aware early. So here are a few simple but important actions you can take starting today. If you're over 30, overweight, or have a family history of diabetes, consider asking your doctor about basic tests like fasting blood glucose, HbA1c. Pay attention to the signals your body may already be sending you. Unusual fatigue, constant thirst, frequent urination, blurred vision, extreme hunger, or wounds that take longer to heal. None of these automatically mean diabetes, but ignoring them is never a smart decision. Sometimes a small action today can prevent a major health problem tomorrow. If we had to summarize this entire video in one sentence, it would be this. The earlier you understand your metabolic health, the more control you have over your future. Here on DiaSync, that's exactly what we focus on. Blood sugar, metabolic health, and preventing diabetes before it's too late. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these diabetes myths have you heard before? Or which one did you personally believe? Write it in the comments. Your comment might help someone else realize something important about their own health. And if you'd like our next video to cover the hidden early warning signs your body sends years before a diabetes diagnosis, just comment next video. If enough of you ask for it, the next DiaSync episode will be exactly about that. If this video helped you, please hit the like button. Share it with someone who might need this information. And don't forget to subscribe to DiaSync so you don't miss future videos about metabolic health and blood sugar control. Because the more people understand the truth about diabetes, the more lives we can protect before it's too late.